Well, folks, we got Louis Herms, who's become a very dear friend of mine, and he's also running for governor of California. And boy, let me tell you, there's a lot of people running out there. They want that seat really, really bad. But there's one guy in particular. I know that maybe Louis can't comment too much on it because he's got to stay neutral. You can understand that. But there's one guy in particular that we all don't like, and that is Chad Bianco. Look, I come from the criminal world. I was surrounded by criminals all my life. I know a criminal when I see one, and this guy is a criminal. I personally think that if there was a way for him to get in, and the media would jump behind them, etc., and paint the wrong picture to the people who are unsuspecting, unknowing, etc., I think that you're not going to miss a beat. You're going to go from jumping from the frying pan into the fire in California because this guy will be every bit as bad as nuisance, if not worse. So, Lewis, tell us what's going on with the campaign. What are the latest developments that we should know about that are exciting, that is going to propel you to the next level, the next position? I know that last time we spoke, you said on the conservative side, you're in a number three spot. Are you starting to scratch into the second spot yet?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've been on tour for the last 3 weeks. In fact, we'll get back to Southern California, and I still have a lot going on there for the next week after. It's been pretty exciting out here. And what we are finding is the biggest challenge that we have had is the old saying, nobody knows who you are. But when we get in front of these groups, and we've been in front of several large groups as of late, uh, virtually the whole group, 60, 70% and more, now change their mind or say, now we're voting for you. That's a big deal. That's a big deal because we don't lose those people where the two front runners, they'll have attrition from their campaign, but they're not going to gain any of my voters, right? Because authenticity wins the day, and somebody that's willing to take it to the cabal and has proven to do so over the last few years seems to be what's very attractive to people. They just got to get to know me. This is why we're on tour. We have a lot of big things coming up. I believe between social media and media events and some other stuff and advertising that we're about ready to release. I believe people are going to get sick of hearing my name, to be honest with you, and it's going to be a really good thing. And then, when we get in some more debates with these guys, I think we're the clear front runner when it comes to that. So, are we scratching the surface? Yeah, we are. The fact that something that I've just arranged could have never happened if we weren't one of the front runners, and we'll be announcing that probably within a week.
Well, I got a few bones to pick with even, RFK. I don't think he's moving fast enough on cleaning up the food. Like, if I was to live in California, one of my first questions would be how quickly you're going to clean up the food because why do we need to have pesticides, herbicides, when we have natural organic chemicals that are good for you that we could spray on our crops that does the same thing to continue going down this path of spraying Monsanto's and all this junk and having seeds that don't grow anymore. The next year you have to go and continuously buy seeds from Monsanto's. He's got a monopoly on that. So one of my first questions to you would be, what are you going to do that day one? Because I think the health of a nation, the health of a state, is very, very important going forward. Are you gonna come down with the hammer on RFK? Say, look, you're doing the right thing, but you're way, way too slow. I think you need to go in more like a sort of a, I hate to even use the word dictator, but you got to go in pretty hard. Say, look, here are the new laws. You got 90 days to comply. We're going to come in with unannounced inspections, what have you, and we're going to bring in scientists to make sure that you abide by the new laws. And if you don't, after strike two, strike three, we're going to put your company up on the auction block and someone else is going to do it the right way.
Yeah, so there's a couple things because I understand the logistics here, and I'm going to defend Bobby Kennedy a little bit because I thought the same thing until I really looked into it. What
Mm-hmm.
happened is they had a lot of contracts already signed from the feds that would have put them in a real bind if they voided those contracts. They had to let some of them expire, and then there were some other things that expired in October, and that's why you'll see all the movement he's done has been post October because of what had to be happening. So I think he is actually doing a pretty good job. I wanted him to go a lot faster at first, and when I dug into it, I found out there was some contractual obligations that would put the feds in a real bind and financially in lawsuits. So he had to wait a little bit. I think if you look at just his feed over the last week, every day he's doing something different. So I think he's in that space now that you want him to be in. Now, me, it's a very interesting thing. So in California, the good news is we're not dealing with some of the contracts and so on and so forth, right? And we are gonna have an HHS type secretary in California, also a MAHA type secretary to run things. The challenge that we're gonna have in California is a little bit different than Bobby Kennedy. We are gonna go full force. We're gonna drop the hammer. We expect the lawsuits to fly at us because logistically they're going to try to tie it to the California Constitution that the voters need to be involved in all these decisions, even though the legislature has been BS putting stuff on us forever. We already know what the game, we know what the direction, but it doesn't matter because we're going to drop the hammer very, very, very hard. Now, what I'm doing in the background is I've been in Central California, and a lot of people I've been meeting with are agricultural type farmers. And we're talking about how we can get this stuff to be done. And you know me, we're already organizing now as if so that we can go in full force on day one and do this. And I think we're going to have a lot of success. Are we going to have a lot of pushback? Oh, we're going to have tons of pushback. Doesn't matter because I'm going to have that website up I've talked about before, exposure.ca.gov, and I'll literally put somebody up and it says, look, it looks like they would rather have us be poisoned than do the right thing. Here's the person's name. Here's what legislature they are. Here's how you can contact them. Go protest. We're not going to play this game anymore. So we're going to take it to a whole nother level. I do think he's playing nice with Big Pharma a little bit. I definitely won't do that. They already hate me, so I'm not going to make it any worse on myself for sure. It's going to be a full on, full
Yeah.
bore, all
What
steam ahead.
Yeah, what will you do day one, for example, to expose the corruption on all these illegal tax agencies that sprout up? It seems there's like a new one popping up like every couple of weeks in California for years. What are you going to do to expose? Or will you invite, say, for example, the DOGE in
Oh,
to
whole nother
start?
level. I've already been known as the guy that's talking super doge. So what happens is I coined a phrase called WARF, and that's waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud. And I've said in February of last year, that's a year ago, that California is probably 75% fraud, waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud. They fit into that category right there. I was called crazy a year ago, and now I'm getting text, social media posts, direct messages like, looks like you were right on, Lewis, right? So we're going to go in there, we're going to superdose the system. But more than that is there's going to be compliance and there's going to be accountability immediately. This is where I think the Trump administration's kind of slow rolled this, and I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for them. I'm sure they know what they're doing. But in my opinion, as soon as you find this, people should be indicted, fired, held accountable, publicly exposed. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I have a feeling that the day I get elected, you are going to see massive people quitting from the state of California government. I believe you're going to see massive people, and they think that's going to run cover for them, maybe temporarily, but not forever, because we're going to find out exactly who was doing what, and we have to hold them accountable. Because Mel, if we're not holding these people accountable, I leave office and they're going to do it again, right?
Absolutely true. But there's also another thing. I mean, once we find them with irrefutable, irrevocable evidence that they've had their hands in the cookie jar and they've padded their pockets and they've padded their bank accounts, are we going to freeze all of their assets, including their money, including their helicopters, their jets, whatever they have, so that we could give it back to the people? Because that's important. Because see, if you go there and you find them guilty and then nothing's being done about it. People want accountability. People want to see people's fucking heads roll, Lewis. I hate to say it, but people
No,
want to
it's
see
no, you don't
heads
hate to
off.
say it. You're right. It's we have to go after them full force, and
Yeah,
and we will. We
yeah,
do understand that the judiciary in California
yeah.
is highly corrupt. So we're working on the exposure of the justices, even right now, that are doing things illegally and against what we the people are. So this is a mammoth undertaking, and I'm not going to pretend to anybody that heads will roll day one. They will in regards to firings, I can guarantee you that. And they'll in regards to indictments, we can only push the indictments and bring it, as you see, and bring it through the judiciary and see where it lands over there. We are going to do our due diligence to make sure that it doesn't get in front of a corrupt judge, and if it does, that judge is going to be extent of public, how do you say it, shaming, because we're not going to put up with this BS anymore. We can't. We
Mhm.
can't do it. And I'm not going to pretend like some candidates that they're going to go in day one and they're going to arrest everybody. We don't have the power to do that, even from the governors. What we have the power to do, though, is push some indictments, and we will absolutely do that. We have the power to hold certain sectors accountable. And what we do have, which people don't know very much, is we have the power to work with the state police and the CHP under my leadership. And if the sheriffs aren't doing their job, we do have a way for our team to do their job also.
Well, could we at least put him under like some kind of house arrest with some ankle bracelet, like they've done to my good friend Joby Weeks, for making too much money, mining too much Bitcoin, and with no trial, no jury, no nothing? Could we at least find them guilty enough to put an ankle bracelet, say you're not going anywhere, we're tracking your ass, and you can only stay within the confines of your house?
Well, unfortunately, that's the judge's decision, but we're going to try to put him in front of the right judges. That's what I'll tell you.
Okay. And I know that you're a big First Amendment, Second Amendment guy. I am too. Is there any plans to bringing in concealed carry day one, or open carry if someone wishes to open carry in California?
Yeah, open carry. Open
Open
carry,
carry.
yeah. The Second Amendment is probably the easiest issue out there, and this is why I get really frustrated with these gun groups. It says shall not infringe. We're done. It's that easy. It
Yes.
shall not infringe. It's not shall partially infringe, shall take some no, shall not infringe. It's about the most clearest statement in the whole Constitution and in those amendments by far. Shall not infringe. So I believe we should be an open carry state. It's that easy. I believe if we are, you're going to have a lot less crime, not more crime. I mean, let's just look at Chicago or places that they go after guns and you can't carry a gun openly. It's an absolute minefield out there, right? California, the same thing, and in Los Angeles and so on and so forth. You think those people would be doing it if it's open carry? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And if they want to conceal it, that's fine too. It really doesn't matter to me.
Okay. I think that's a great way to be able to put you in a position to shrink down the police force, which is also very corrupt in California. A lot of your police forces are. So if you have a lot more people walking around with guns, and people know that people are walking around with guns, people have to be very careful of what they do.
Yeah, sorry, I'm barely hearing you. Let me turn up my volume.
Sure.
I caught I caught what you said though. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna be straightforward with you, Mel. Temporarily, I have no intention of increasing I'm decreasing the police force. I have every intention though is getting rid of the baddies that were inside the police force and temporarily at minimum replace them with the right ones, maybe even deputizing people. And here's why it's so important. Our crime rate can be ridden just like it was in El Salvador. We can actually go in and say, gang members, you have two choices, right? Clean up your act, say, I'm not involved in this anymore, or you're going to be in jail. And I know a lot of people get upset with me with that, and I don't give a damn. I've watched what Bukele did in El Salvador, and I've watched him from the second highest murder rate and crime in the world to now he's a top five safest places to travel to. And I've talked to people from El Salvador. And I just spoke on the phone with somebody a couple of days ago that we're working on some things over there. And I can tell you that worked. And it worked because he says, Crime is not going to exist, period. End of story. Now people are on the streets, doors unlocked. They're actually partying on the streets, having meals where their neighbors all show up in their front yard. That didn't exist a few years ago before Bukele. So we're gonna go hardcore against crime. I'm gonna hold a sheriff symposium within the first month, and that sheriff symposium is gonna re-instruct them on their constitutional value set on what they're supposed to be doing and what power they have. And we're going to do just like my Remember Your Oath program. If they do it right, they'll be held accountable, right? In a good way. If they do it wrong, they're going to be held accountable in a bad way. So absolutely, we'll prop them up if they do it great. And if they don't, they're going to be held accountable and they're going to be the whole world's going to know. This is the difference between my campaign that I'm running than even what President Trump. If there's a baddie out there, the world is going to know. It's going to be on exposure.ca.gov. You're going to know who the baddie is, and whatever happens, happens because we are done with this evil. This evil is cannot last a second longer. I mean, we're talking about our world is run by pedophiles. Let's just be honest about that. That's who's running this world, this country, and certainly this state, right?
Yep.
So they need to have a millstone placed around their neck, and the rest will go from there. So we're going to be super hard on crime, but we're also going to be super supportive of the sheriffs and the police doing the right thing. Because one thing that is missing from almost across the board is when I was growing up, it said protect and serve on every police car.
Hmm.
Protect and serve. That's your job. Your job's not to be ticketing. Your job's not to be getting as much money for that you can for your captain or your mayor. Your job's to protect and serve. I actually love when I see police officers in the hood playing basketball because I think they're building a camaraderie with these guys, and they need to figure out a way that we can work as a community. They should just be the guardian of the community. That's it. If they're not willing to do that and they have an alternative agenda, like some sheriffs, maybe even one that you mentioned, we're done with it. We're not going to play this game. We're not going to put up with it. They love to hide under the color of law, and that will not exist under my leadership any longer.
I got a question that I bet you no one's ever asked you. There is a push, and you understand how to read the writing on the wall because you and I are pretty much cut from the same cloth. And there's a definite push that you could see that we're going back to the Republic of the United States, not the American corporation. Okay, we're getting away from the American corporation slowly. Donald Trump, I think, is doing a great job at that, but he's doing it very slow, very methodical, not making too many mistakes. I don't believe. Um, is your governorship going to be valid once we go back fully to the Republic?
Yeah, they had governors under the originally founding fathers papers. That wasn't the issue whatsoever. What the issue is the manipulation not only of the Constitution post 1871, in my opinion, but the manipulation of the California Constitution all the way back to I think 1859. It's
Hmm.
been jacked with for so the California Constitution is the strongest constitution for we the people out of all 50 states, where the people are involved in making the decisions by voting on any issue that they want to vote on. They can put it up as a proposition or a bill, I believe, and it goes to vote. The challenge is it's been completely manipulated. And are any of those votes real under election fraud? No, they're not. So it's been fake, phony, and false for sure for a long time. So absolutely. We need, and people get afraid when I say this word because they connect it to the New World Order, but we do need a reset. But we need a reset back to what the founding fathers have created for us because it's just absolutely beautiful. If we really look at what they've done from the for the Republic, it is incredible. But what happened is the baddies that wanted to control things post the introduction from the founding fathers have constantly cut the foundation of our Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and Declaration of Independence. Every time they get a chance, they cut, they cut, they cut, they cut, and then they manipulate things that are in there for their own set. I can't say their own value set because I don't think they have any values. Their
Right.
value is to Satan, in my opinion. So this is something that we're working very hard on. I'm actually working on a bill that we're going to propose that you're going to love. Hopefully, be out in the next couple of weeks. I'm doing some rewrites on it right now, and it's a restoration act for California called 1776 Restoration Act. I think that's what we're going to name it, similar to the one that was proposed to the feds, and they're playing games with it. But it's huge, and it really puts us back to where we need to be, and we need to be more on a common law premise, and currently we're on a corporate law premise. And I will be exposing bar attorneys and so on and so forth. So I'm very clear of that on my campaign, actually.
Well, you know that I'm coming out with Dear Mr. President Part Two. It's called Dear Mr. President, Show Me the Money, a movie about the straw man. I'm sure you're very well versed about the straw man. You'll probably be one of the very first few people that running for governor that will actually admit to that. Anybody else will
Yep.
probably say, "What are you talking about?" And they'll, veer off from it. But the reality is that you understand what I'm talking about. That even those parking tickets, speeding tickets, traffic tickets on the road get traded on through your social security number, and everything is a bond. Driver's license, fishing license, hunting license, marriage license, divorce license, get remarried license. All that shit is all traded, and we're all worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and we can't get to that money because someone else is in charge of that money. My wife paid
Mhm.
a bill which is going to be in the movie, 2,300 or 2,600, I forget the, and it was successful, and then it was not successful 4 days later. How can it be successful payment and not be successful? Because there's money there that they don't want you to have. So are you going to
Yeah.
expose that in some way? Because I think it needs to be exposed. I'm going to do the best I can to expose it with a 2 hour documentary that's coming out here. As a matter of fact, March 29th, we'll be showing it at an airplane hangar here in Titusville. You're invited to come, obviously, as a speaker. We're going to be doing a junior quantum summit, but there's nothing junior about it. It's an airplane hangar. It's huge. It fits every bit of about
Cool.
550 people. So I don't know if we're
And I
going to.
think what you're referencing is the Cesta QV accounts. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And all of this stuff we're going to expose. And I said from a long time ago, people in the natural common law say, Lewis, what you're doing is counterintuitive to what your belief system is running for governor. And I said, no, no, no. I said, how have you done? Have you fixed the problem? No. I said, because you need an insider to get in there and disrupt things, shake things up so we can get back to where we're supposed to be. So that's why it makes sense. And what we need to do is we need to create parallel societies right now so we can get everything done. And the way you're going to fix the problem is my intention is to go in there. You know how Bobby Kennedy just turned the pyramid upside down nutritionally? That's what we're going to do with the government in California. I'm very open with that, not trying to hide it. We're going to go there, we're going to shake things up and flip it upside down. So all the power is to the people. And we literally, as the governor, or I call it guardianship,
Mhm,
we're going to take care of y'all to do what we need to do and to listen to you. In
mhm,
fact, to prove that, right at the beginning, I'm going to put a website out there that's going to blow people's mind. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all maybe -7%, I'll explain it in a second, all of the California complete budget, line item itemized, will be online live for everybody to audit and have a comment section so people can respond to that. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that chair right there, the government purchased for $5,200, but the real price of the chair was $670. They can now hold me accountable and say, Lewis, you purchased this chair for 5,200. I have the real price here of 670. I put an apology. I apologize. We'll get on it. Let's fix that problem. So now, can you imagine? We, the people all over the world, can audit California to make sure that they're spending money where they're supposed to. That's huge.
yeah.
No politician is talking about that because they're more tied to the system than the people.
Yeah. I'm big on health, and I'm big on the fact that humans really could live a very, very long time. And I've always been digging and getting a lot of the answers that I know were real all along. And I know that there's a problem there, just like there is here in Florida. The spraying, the chemtrails. I know that they're not spraying us with vitamin C and vitamin B12 and whatever else you want to throw in there. That's a bullshit story on steroids. They don't want us to produce. So I think a lot of that stuff that they're spraying is messing with a lot of men's testosterone, okay, and knocking the testosterone. And I was starting to see a lot of commercials on testosterone pills and testosterone shots. All of a sudden, it's like they created the problem. They know we have a
Yep.
problem. Now they have a solution, which is the testosterone pills. You know, uh, where are you on that? Are you going to stop that day one? You know it's poisonous. I don't think you need to bring in a bunch of scientists to prove what's already in the dirt that's been tested a million times. Where are you on that?
I'm actually looking at the legalities of me calling up forces and taking planes out of the sky if they're doing that.
Well, I'm glad you went there because I said the other day, I said every governor should have like a power of attorney with their local Air Force, okay, to be able to throw down the gauntlet, if you will, and say, hey, if you see these guys spraying up there, you don't even need the order. I'm giving you the order now. You go up there and bring them down to an Air Force base, okay, and beat the shit out of them coming out of the cockpit and get them down to Guantanamo Bay. Get them to these are treasonous crimes in my opinion. These should not be going to the local, town court. These should go right down to Guantanamo Bay and execute the law to the fullest extent. If it means death, so be it. Put them all to death. Let's send the message. Let's put it on live television so that it sends a message to all the other pilots out there who want to continue to spray us that you cannot spray us anymore. And we want damages for this, and there's going to be a lot of damages to pay.
Yeah, very similar plan actually. We put two fighter jets up. We escort them down to a base, and we take it from there. And the nice thing is now we also have their plane down there on inspection, so we'll have all the evidence literally in a on a tarmac or in a hangar somewhere. So it'll be very easy to hold these guys accountable. And I think we'll have to do it once. That's it. And that's the beauty about this stuff people don't understand. If you have a strong arm enforcement, you don't have to do it that often because it's such a great deterrent.
Absolutely, totally agree. And I don't know what the hell it is where they're spraying us with, but I know it can't be anything good because I know the government doesn't love you. The deep state government does not love us.
Well, this is the thing. So there's a lot of people saying, well, they could be spraying you with good stuff or this and blah, blah, blah. And I go, have you never heard of informed consent? Great. So if they're spraying us with good stuff, we need informed consent, which we're not going to give them that. That's why they
Right.
would never do that.
Exactly. So you got to plan for that. That's great because the governor here seems to be powerless. The governor here in Florida, the
It's interesting
Sanctimonious.
because he's doing so many good things too, but I keep hearing that they're doing chemtrails there still.
Yeah, it's terrible. It really is
And
terrible.
isn't it against the law? Didn't they sign
It
legislation
is
against that?
against the law. They have legislation in place, but there's nothing being done about it. And I said Donald Trump should give, an executive order that gives the power to the local governors to put up some, wartime airplanes up and land these sons of bitches once and for all and send the message. And you're right. They'll probably have to do it once or twice, and then they know that, this is no longer a game.
I would think that the governor and the president can call in the Air National Guard to handle that. And then they'll probably what happens is I'm guessing the planes will probably go cross border. That's their game. Like they'll spray in Florida and try to land something else. So that's why they should coordinate with our military for sure.
Yeah, but this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Now, getting back to Bianco, if the people in California are stupid enough to elect the Bianco in, because obviously the mainstream media still does hold a level of power and a level of brainwashing, etc. And unfortunately, the 65, 75-year-olds are still watching CNN and Fox and all that. So they're getting not even half the story in most cases. But you know of the tapes regarding Vem Miller. We all know, we all
Yep.
heard it. He's innocent as apple pie and Chevrolet. You listen to the tapes. He was 3 miles from the actual rally for Donald Trump. This guy was getting ready. He was ready, willing, and able to paint him as the third shooter. Meanwhile, he's 3 miles away, and we got the recording. Say, hey, I got guns here. I know the venue is 3 miles down the road. I just want to comply with you guys. I don't want to piss you guys off. What do we got to do? And boom, because he wanted to go to the venue with no guns. We got the recordings. This guy it went out on the airwaves and painted Vem as the third killer. And I know Vem personally. You know Vem personally, okay?
Yep.
And he's a very nice guy. He's not a killer, not even close to being a killer. He'll kill you with some love, maybe, but other than that, you know. So, but needless to say, when you're willing to go that far out, when you have irrefutable, irrevocable evidence beyond a shadow of any doubt, and you're willing to throw a guy underneath the bus to further your political career, the question should arise immediately. And that question is, what else is this criminal Chad Bianco capable of if he's
Mhm.
willing to throw one innocent person that he knows is an innocent person in prison for the rest of his life for a crime that he did not commit, he was not going to commit because he was 3 miles from the crime scene? What else would he be willing to do to you in California?
Well, I think it should disqualify him, frankly. I
Right.
think it's I think it's pretty simple. You he is an innocent man. All the proof is out there. Even the FBI at the time said, no, there's nothing there. You guys are wrong, right?
Right.
And then the retraction was the most pathetic retraction I've ever seen in the history of retractions. It was completely feckless. And the biggest challenge I have with this dude is if he even makes a mistake, you just need to own it, but he doesn't own it. It's denial, denial, denial,
Exactly.
denial.
He's a
And that's
psycho.
not
He's a
that's not a real man to me. So I will speak to that every day.
yeah.
I'll let everybody else put out their evidence or whatever. But I think you do something like that, you screw up, you need to own it. But let's go a little deeper on this, and I want to
Yeah.
defend Van Miller on this because here's the sickening part. So I think it was actually 1.6 miles from the venue, but regardless,
Hmm.
he goes there. He stops. He says, "Hey guys, just so you know, I've got a couple guns in the trunk." Boom. Okay, pull over to here. Next set of people come up. Hey guys, they said, "Why are you here?" Well, I have a couple of guns in the trunk, and I told them, "Can I leave them here or do something? I want to make sure that you guys have them. Is there something I can do?" Now, the story that's not really told, and I think Bem should go into this deeper because this is huge. They kept him there for 3 hours. 3 hours. And then finally, what I'm told is an officer came up with a fake story. So here's what I'm told. I'm only going I'm told. And this is to defend them. And the officer said to the other officers something to the effect, he just killed his parents, and now his intention is to go after President Trump. Can you imagine how
Wow.
that would rile even good officers up?
Wow.
Right? So if that's the story that's true, that's what I'm hearing. We really need to dig into that part because that could have gotten him killed. And then they went in into his house. Of course, they did what they always do. They tons way overpowered, busting down doors, full automatic weapons. He just wasn't there. And now it seems to be that his parents, oh, who are alive, by the way, are being targeted for something else. So I don't know the details of this. I think people should investigate this. I'm more concerned about the way an amazing innocent like Van Miller was treated. That's the problem that I have with that.
The problem I have is, God forbid, a guy like Chad Bianco is able to get in office, and because he's got the classic. You look at him, you see the way he speaks, even after he know he's been caught, even though after he knows he's wrong, even though after he knows there's insurmountable evidence against him that makes the other party look completely innocent, he still pushes the envelope, and that's a sociopath. And you got to be a very, very afraid of a sociopath, because a sociopath is liable of doing anything, because you got one in office right now. Governor Nuisance is a sociopath, and you want to replace nuisance with another nuisance, you'll be making a big mistake. California, don't do it.
Well, that is the
Don't
game
do
the
it.
deep state plays. They just trade them out. They just
Yeah,
have a different face, sometimes a different letter next to their name.
exactly. Exactly. Well, what's the next? Where is the next debate? How can people reach you, Lewis? How can they donate to you? Where do they go? Please.
Well, the next debate's not on calendar yet, probably be in February, early March. Should be a really, really, really big one. We're excited about that one. And they can go to my website and track me. We're going to post a bunch of events on there probably next week. You'll see them coming up. I'm going to be traveling all over for the next 4 months. We are getting a lot of traction. We have a trajectory like this that we're excited about, right? So people go to hermsforcali.com, hermsforcali.com. And remember, I am the We the People candidate, not self-proclaimed. Other people have said that. If that's true, we're fighting against a megalith of money for the other candidates, right? So we do need donations. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's $5, whatever it is. We, the people, are going to have to step up in order to support this cause because I'm not running for myself. I'm running for everybody else. So if you understand that, the good news is you can do that from Africa. You can do it from anywhere around the world. So we definitely need donations. Just go to hermsforcali.com. And we would also love your support, your prayers. And if you want to volunteer, we got a mega organization of volunteers already. We'd love to have more. You can do the same thing at hermsforcali.com.
Now, let me ask you another question. I know there's laws that are protecting the people who are putting poison in our food, or contracts, and that we can't move as fast as we want to. Are there any contracts in place protecting the pedophiles and the child trafficking rings and all that shit?
Not, no, I don't think so.
How quickly can we move on getting rid of these
Oh,
scumbags?
immediately. We're already working on it in the background. We have a child trafficking task force in the background already. We're going to be putting things together. I'm connected with the right people. We haven't started working on the exact plan. We have a lot of plans, but we're going to detail it within the next few
Yeah.
months. So we're hitting the ground running. By the way, that sheriff symposium that I'm going to do the first month, that has a lot to do with child sex slavery.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know the details of it, and I may be making an argument about nothing, something I know nothing about. But if there are contracts in place that say that whoever's producing our food is still liable to put the is still okay to put poisons, colorings, and all kinds of shit in our food that don't belong. Donald Trump should sign one executive order and saying those contracts are null and void as of right now, immediately. Because why would we allow such contracts to exist that allow the American people to be poisoned for another year or 2 years? I think it's a non-argument for me. It doesn't stand.
No,
And
I
I
get it.
know.
I just to clarify, I think the contracts are purchase agreements.
Mhm.
And they had to honor that or something in regards to farming, stuff like that. I didn't get the details of it. I thought it fascinating, but the people I talked to that were very connected to this, they were very upset about this, but they understood there was some contractual obligation, which a lot of it ended in October. And I don't know if that had something to do with budgets. I
Mhm.
really don't know. But the good news is it looks like it's behind them, and that's probably why you see Bobby Kennedy moving so fast in the last couple of weeks. My
Mhm.
guess is probably because that stuff is behind him.
Okay. I know you're not a politician. I know you've never been a politician. You just basically ran out of pure disgust with what's going on because you've been awake for a long time and you see all the nonsense, all the bullshit, all the corruption, etc., the child trafficking. The reality is, wouldn't Donald Trump be able to override something like that? Because if those are frivolous contracts that allow somebody to sell something for the gain of a monetary system, okay, uh, even though they have ironclad contracts, those contracts should be null and void when it comes to human health.
Well, the biggest challenge that the Trump administration has had is lawfare. So as soon as they try to void those contracts, you've seen many things that he's done under executive order, and it goes
Mm-hmm.
right through the court system. And he's lost a lot based on the activist judges that are in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't speak for them. I'm sure they calculated whatever it was, and maybe they decided that, hey, if the time is going to run out on some of these things, maybe it's better for them to do that than go to court. I can't speak for them. I just heard that that's what one of the holdups was. And I kind of always look at the fruits of the labor, and I've been watching Bobby Kennedy really close the last few weeks. I think he's been going in the right direction on a lot of stuff. Um, and I also believe we should watch your Surgeon General in Florida because I think he's been leading by example as well. And I believe that's probably going to be a clue to more things that you see that the Secretary Kennedy and the administration is going to be doing as well.
Okay. So can we get you down to the junior summit in Titusville, March 27th, 28th, and 29th? We got Sheriff Mack
I'd
coming
have to
down.
look. I already have a lot of things on my schedule. If it doesn't conflict with the debate,
Hmm.
I will probably be able to make it. If it conflicts with the debate, I probably won't be able to make it. So
Well,
we'll see.
maybe bring some of your California candidates. We'll have a California showdown in Florida. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. That would be
You
fun.
know. So, brother, it's a pleasure seeing you again. And screwbiggov.com. You'll be able to get to all of his stuff from there. I'm sure you can link. You got all the links you need on that website, correct?
Yep. And they can go right to hermsforcali.com if they'd like to also, which is
Awesome,
that's my candidate site.
awesome. Let me
I think it's
hit that.
time for you to buy a bigger
Yeah.
chair, Mel.
Yeah, right. Hey, guys, I'm not going to do a commercial on this one because this is really urgent to put out as quickly as possible. Staying Alive in Cape Canaveral with two E's. Okay, our healing center. Come by and visit us. If you're local, definitely come by. Come charge the body. The body wants to be charged. Also, Carmine's Gold, okay, and Quantum Summit, 1776.com. Carmine'sGold.com and Quantum Summit, 1776.com. The tickets are going to probably be, I think they'll sell out. I really do. I think people want an event to go to, and this is going to be. Oh, by the way, we have these F-4 Phantom planes that we used in the Vietnam War, and the Huey helicopters is right, the real deal, right behind your stage.
Wow. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, very. I'll send you some pictures.
All
So,
right, man.
guys, we'll catch you on the next one. I'll hold you back for a little bit if you don't mind, Louis.
Sure.